doing good business. If I'm easy work, I heard him say I'm easy work. If I was easy work, you would take all that money that.
Terence Crawford responded to Canelo Alvarez's dismissal of him as an easy fight, claiming that it's actually Canelo who's afraid to face him. The WBO welterweight champion commented on the ongoing exchange between Canelo and Turki Al-Sheikh, the president of the Saudi Arabian Boxing Federation. While Canelo had expressed interest in fighting Crawford, Crawford questioned his sincerity. Laughing off Canelo's remarks, Crawford pointed out that the Mexican champion often makes excuses regarding factors like size and credit. He highlighted that Canelo has historically fought smaller opponents and made catchweight adjustments for years, citing bouts against Floyd Mayweather, Amir Khan, and Jermell Charlo. Crawford further suggested that, except for Mayweather and possibly Edgar Berlanga, these fights did not generate as much revenue as a potential showdown with him would. Crawford believes Canelo is using business as an excuse to avoid him, stating, "If it's all about business, you should be making better business moves." His comments add to the ongoing debate about whether Canelo genuinely seeks the toughest challenges. Some critics claim he avoids dangerous opponents, while others argue he fights the best only when the timing suits him. Ultimately, Crawford insists that if Canelo wants to secure his legacy, they will have to meet in the ring eventually. Crawford also took aim at promoter Eddie Hearn after Canelo's upcoming fight with Edgar Berlanga was announced. At a press conference, Canelo called out Hearn, accusing him of using his name to promote the Crawford vs. Madrimov fight. Hearn responded, "We have to use your name to sell the Crawford vs. Madrimov fight," remark that Crawford found disrespectful. He accused Hearn of trying to stay in Canelo's good graces at his expense.
Name to promote nothing. Anytime they ever gave me any question about Canelo, I shut it down. Just like, I'm pretty sure he'll shut it down. I'm focused on Berlanga. That's what he's going to say. Anytime I don't want to talk about Canelo, I don't want to speak about Canelo, I'm worried about one person. So for him to say we had...
De La Hoya criticized Canelo for demanding $150 million to fight Crawford, calling it a tactic to price himself out of the fight. He sided with Al-Sheikh, who referred to Canelo's demand as ridiculous.
Crawford, maybe Virgil Crawford, if, Virgil gets past.
Absolutely. I think, look, the one thing that I respect about Your Excellency and Turkey is he wants to make the best fights. That's basically it. And a lot of fighters, they outprice themselves, therefore the fans lose, and we can't watch those fights. But now Turkey's coming in, paying money, but he's not paying absurd amounts of monies that fighters are not, worth. He's being reasonable. He's paying premiums, but perfect example is Canelo wanting $200 million to fight against Crawford. In other words, that means...
De La Hoya also questioned Canelo's reluctance to fight David Benavidez, accusing him of making excuses and avoiding tough opponents. He praised Al-Sheikh for his efforts to improve boxing, but warned that Canelo's attitude could have a detrimental impact on the sport.
And he want $150 million to fight me. So that just lets me know right there that I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to him. I'm a threat to his legacy, because it would be crazy for a guy that started at 135 to come all the way up to 168, your weight, no catch weight, no none of that, and dethrone you. So, he got that in the back of his head. This guy, for one, he's tough. For two, he's a boxer. He moves, he can punch, he can do it all. I can't slip up and lose to this little guy. Then what will my fans think of me?
The history between Canelo and De La Hoya plays a significant role in Oscar's criticisms. De La Hoya believes Canelo hesitates to take on major challenges, though he still believes Canelo would be too much for Crawford. After watching Crawford's performance against Israel Madrimov, De La Hoya argued that Crawford didn't appear particularly dangerous and suggested that if Canelo were the bigger fighter in the ring, it would be an easy victory for him. He further claimed that a smaller, skilled fighter has never defeated a larger, skilled fighter in boxing history. Crawford recently moved up in weight to capture the WBA super welterweight title with a unanimous decision win over Madrimov. Before the fight, there was significant speculation about a potential match with Canelo, and Turki Al-Sheikh, who helped organize Crawford's bout with Madrimov, had initially expressed interest in making the fight with Canelo happen.
Crawford versus Canelo. As I tell before to the ESPN, I give him the offer. If he's smart, he...
However, Alaushik changed his stance after Canelo demanded an astronomical $150 million for a fight with Crawford. He criticized Canelo for refusing to negotiate unless it was strictly on his terms. At a press conference for Canelo's fight against Edgar Berlanga, Canelo was asked about Alaushik's offer. He made it clear that he was unhappy with Alaushik's handling of the situation, further fueling doubts about whether the fight will ever come to. Canelo expressed frustration with Alaushik's approach, stating that if the Saudis wanted to work with him, they would need to meet his conditions. In response, Alaushik, who has gained significant influence in boxing through financial backing from the Saudi crown prince, accused Canelo of avoiding difficult fights. Alaushik's comments appeared to shut down any chance of future collaboration between the two. In a post addressing Canelo's remarks, Alaushik stated, "I heard what Canelo said about respecting me but not liking the way we do business. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me whether he respects me or not. I know why he doesn't like my approach, because I only focus on big fights at fair prices. Of course, anyone who prefers easy fights won't like that." After his loss to Bivol, Canelo has been looking for easier matchups. "I'm not afraid of facing David Benavidez or Crawford. I knew Canelo was just making excuses with these big money demands that can't be met. I'm focused on making big fights that help the sport, while he's focused on easy matchups." Canelo dismissed Alaushik's criticism, responding with a crying emoji to show he wasn't concerned. Despite Crawford's undefeated record and impressive skills, Canelo remains confident he would easily defeat him due to his size and experience. The boxing world continues to eagerly anticipate this potential fight.
Said that he would be willing to pay whatever you want to fight Crawford.
Fine.
Yeah.
If he's willing to pay whatever I want, hands down.
That'll work. So if yeah, you're in. So if the numbers were right with Crawford, you'll do it.
Why not? Why not? I think Crawford, don't get me wrong, he's a great fighter. But for me, in my weight class, it's an easy fight. For me, easy money. So if the money is right, I'm in, because I don't like to fight guys like Crawford because he move a lot and the fight is not that great. I saw Crawford the last fight and he don't move that much now. So if the money is right,
Crawford fired back at Canelo, believing that the Mexican champion is making excuses because he recognizes the serious threat Crawford poses to his legacy. Crawford stated, "I heard him say I'm easy work. If I were really easy work, he would take all that money he's offering. But he still wants $200 million to fight David Benavidez and $50 million to fight me. That tells me right there that I'm a threat to him and his legacy." Despite Crawford's less dominant performance against Israel Madrimov, some still believe Canelo would be too much for him. Trainer Bob Santos shared his thoughts, saying, "I think it's a step too big for him, but he's earned the right to try. I think Canelo would be too big and strong at 168. I could be wrong, he could prove us wrong, but it's a lot to ask of but to move up to 168. Still, that's what makes him great. He's won at 135, 140, 147, and now 154. He's earned that right." Despite Crawford's confidence, some experts believe he should reconsider challenging Canelo. Promoter Lou DiBella advised against it, noting that after watching Crawford's fight against Madrimov, he didn't see the same power at 154 pounds. Bud boxed like Bud, but there wasn't much snap on his punches. At 154, there wasn't enough power, and that gave Madrimov too much credit. At 168? No, not now. Boxing enthusiast Mario Lopez echoed similar sentiments, advising Crawford not to call out Canelo just yet.
I'll tell you right now. You should not call out Canelo. No. After that, I don't think so. Hey, Madrimov's a badass dude, though. He's a badass dude. The whole night was great, though.
Analyst Stephen A. Smith also chimed in, believing that Crawford didn't handle the jump in weight well and suggesting he should stay at 154 instead of pursuing a fight with Canelo. But should stay at 154. Don't fight Canelo. I don't think the weight carried well, Smith said. Carlos Adams, a sparring partner who has worked with both Crawford and Canelo, agreed. He warned that Crawford should avoid Canelo right now, citing Canelo's power as a major concern. Canelo punches too hard, and it could be dangerous for Crawford's career, Adams cautioned.
Bastante libre, demasiada, yo diría. Pienso que no es algo que él lo necesita ahora mismo. Crawford en su carrera ha demostrado que es un buen peleador, pero pienso que no tiene que estar corriendo esos grandes riesgos, porque no solamente pone su carrera en riesgo, también pone su vida, porque un golpe de Canelo le puede hacer daño de por vida.
I don't think Crawford needs the Canelo fight right now. I think it's kind of needless for Crawford because his reputation is well cemented, and a punch by Canelo could not only be dangerous for him to lose the fight, but it could be dangerous for his life. So no need for Crawford to cross the line into such a heavy weight class.
Kieran Davis, another sparring partner who has trained with both fighters, emphasized that size will be a critical factor if the fight happens. Crawford is a great fighter with skills, but Canelo has both skill and size. That's a big advantage for Canelo. He's bigger than Crawford, and it'll be too hard for Crawford to win, Davis explained. He also noted that Crawford would struggle to hurt Canelo, who is known for his durable chin. Crawford would need to fight the perfect fight. Size will play a big role. It'll be much harder for Crawford to hurt Canelo, and Canelo's punches will be more effective at 168. Boxing legend Evander Holyfield echoed these concerns, saying that the weight jump would make it tough for Crawford to win. It's going to be tough for him to beat Canelo. Canelo might be basic, but he's a good fighter, Holyfield stated. Former middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs, who faced Canelo in 2019, acknowledged the challenge for Crawford but gave him a chance. Skills sometimes pay the bills, and we know Crawford has the skills. But power, weight, and experience could be factors too. It'll be a great test for Crawford, but I think the fans will win if it happens. Meanwhile, boxing legend Bernard Hopkins raised concerns about the fight being worth it for Crawford, emphasizing the potential risks involved. What good does a fight with Canelo really bring? Hopkins questioned, warning of the dangers of moving up in weight against such a physically dominant opponent.
And with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo? What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less.
Hopkins continued to express his doubts about Crawford pursuing a fight with Canelo, calling it a risky move. I have serious doubts about Crawford's decision to take this fight. It's risky, and I don't know if it's wise. As someone who's been in the ring, I understand the physical toll, and I worry about Crawford's health in a fight like this. What benefit does this fight bring to Crawford? There are other big matchups that don't carry as much risk, Hopkins stated. He suggested an alternative, recommending that Crawford face Virgil Ortiz instead of stepping into the ring with Canelo, especially after Crawford's performance against Madrimov.
Displayed last week and a half, but Crawford, to me, I believe won the fight. I believe the fight could have won a draw, so you can't look at that fight and say that he's there for pickings, that his time is running out. We get up for certain fights at that level, and sometimes it can be not as good as the one that you got up for, which was Errol Spence. So I'm not fooled by what people might be saying about Crawford, whether it's time, whether it's not. Nah, I say he gets up for fights that he gets up for, and he at that age where it takes something super exciting to get excited about. I would like to see Virgil, based on this Saturday, how he looks, how he executes, and how he wins. That it gives me a blueprint to see, yeah, he won, but will he win this way?
Virgil Ortiz's trainer, Robert Garcia, believes Crawford's performance against Israel Madrimov was too close and didn't do enough to convince people that he could move up and face Canelo at a higher weight class. Garcia proposed that a fight between Crawford and Ortiz would be a better test for Crawford. Maybe Crawford's performance wasn't enough for people to think he'd do well against Canelo, so maybe an Ortiz fight is a good idea, Garcia said. Former world champion and boxing analyst Pauli Malignaggi also advised Crawford to stay at 154 pounds and focus on fighting top contenders in the division. While acknowledging Crawford's high boxing IQ, Malignaggi noted that he's not the strongest at 154, but he can compete with anyone due to his intellect. He suggested potential matchups for Crawford, including Virgil Ortiz Jr., Sebastian Fundora, Tim Tszyu, Serhii Bohacek, and a rematch with Madrimov. Malignaggi believes these fights would help solidify Crawford's legacy, and even if Ortiz Jr. loses to Bohacek, he could still be a future opponent for Crawford. Malignaggi ultimately believes Crawford should embrace the competition at 154, where he can still dominate and solidify his status as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters. Meanwhile, the highly anticipated fight between Crawford and Canelo seems unlikely to happen soon, especially after Saudi boxing leader Turki Alalshik put the match on hold.
Benavidez is going to stay at 175 because I don't think him versus Canelo is going to happen. I think there's already been so much talk, so much saying back and forth to a point where Canelo is going to say, why? I just don't want to give it to him. You know, Canelo has that power. You know, he doesn't need the fight against Benavidez. To us, I would.
Robert Garcia believes David Benavidez has the tools to defeat Canelo, but acknowledges that underestimating Canelo would be a mistake. Canelo is so talented that he could actually win this fight. I feel like Benavidez has the tools to beat Canelo, but I could be wrong, Garcia said. However, Garcia doesn't believe Canelo is afraid to fight Benavidez, pointing out that Canelo has already faced many tough opponents. Canelo has fought everybody. I don't think he's afraid, he's too proud. He's saying, I can do anything I want, I don't have to please everyone asking for this fight, Garcia explained. While acknowledging that Canelo doesn't need to fight Benavidez, Garcia stated that taking the fight would earn Canelo a great deal of respect. Floyd Mayweather, however, has been more critical of Canelo, stating that he should face David Benavidez. If it were up to me, we'd want to see Benavidez fight Canelo. It's time for Canelo to stop cherry-picking opponents and face a real threat like Benavidez, Mayweather said. He believes that fighting Benavidez is essential for Canelo's legacy and referred to Benavidez as a hungry lion. Mayweather respects Canelo's accomplishments but questions his willingness to take on real challenges. When asked who he thinks would win in a potential matchup, Mayweather responded, "There's no doubt Canelo is an elite boxer, but right now, David is just too fast and hungry for him to handle." David beats Canelo. Canelo is a great fighter, though, I respect him, but right now, I think David beats him. Rio Valenzuela also weighed in, suggesting that if Canelo fights Crawford first, the chances of him facing Benavidez could decrease. However, he still believes that Benavidez has earned his shot at Canelo.
You know, if the money's right, so I think the money will be right, you know, eventually. It depends which route Canelo goes, though. You know, it sounds like Terence Crawford, the Saudis want to make that fight happen, so if he fights Crawford, then I think it'll be less likely he'll fight Benavidez. But, yeah, hopefully David gets it. You know, I think he deserves it.
What do you think about the ongoing feud between Canelo and Turki Alalshik? Do you believe Canelo is avoiding Crawford? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and check out our other content on the screen right now.